Hello, I'm Stewart Swerdlow, and welcome to another podcast by Expansions.com. And you know what? We had such a great response from that first Dream podcast that we did that we are going to continue it now with a second one. And who knows how many we'll have to do after this because you love them so much. So I want to get right into the dreams because we've got so many of them. And please again, keep in mind not to send in any more dreams right now. I will post on the site when we're ready to take more dreams. We got so many the first time, I'm still sorting through all of them. So thank you very much for participating in our dream podcasts. And as you know, you spend 1/3 of your life dreaming. That's approximately 25 years for an average lifespan of 75 years. But remember, the longer we live, supposedly by the year 2020, living to 100 will be very commonplace. So 1/3 of that lifetime will be over 33 years of dreaming. That's a lot of dreams to participate in. We get anywhere from 100,000 to 125,000 dreams in our lifetime, and they're all significant. So let's get right into this next one here. And these are a bit shorter than the last podcast, so we'll get through a few more of them this time. And this person writes in, I dreamt that I was in another lifetime on another planet. There was only twilight or dusk or complete darkness, and they alternated every few hours as opposed to our day-night schedule. There was a giant moon that took up half the sky. The sense was that during the dark hours there were attacks from this moon, so it was dangerous. I was a courier running goods to the city from some type of warehouse. Everyone was telepathic. I found a girl I knew from this life, and we recognized each other and were excited to see each other again. I fully expected to continue my consciousness in this world, but of course I woke up in this life and was a little thrown for a loop. It felt like a real place, not really like a dream. What is this? Well, I'll tell you right now, this is a programming dream, and as I explained in the last podcast, we have a combination to program people between programmed dreams and normal or oversoul dreams. And this is a programming dream. And based on what this person saw, it was describing a world of the inner virtual matrix, or the inner alternate reality, kind of the back alters that exist that never really come forward into the conscious life or take control of the body. And that's why it was always this darkness going on there, this twilight zone kind of thing. The cities and the warehouse that were mentioned are constructs in the programming. I would recommend this person read True Reality of Sexuality and 13 Cubed and do your deprogramming on this. There's a lot more information here that isn't in the dream that maybe he didn't remember or didn't put in, but it certainly is a back alter virtual reality programming dream, and you should be doing your deprogramming work. Next dream. Hi, Mr. Swerdlow. I will tell you about a dream I had a few nights ago. I remember being in an old, battered building, not sure if I was in the States or Europe, but it was a large, old building in use as a school. Apparently in the dream, I believe I was one of the students, and everyone, including the teachers, were rushing around to find a safe place to retreat because there were several tornadoes heading towards the school. I found myself suddenly out on the street, and the wind was blowing wildly. I could see a man in the distance looking as if he was confused. Didn't know where to go. The street was cobblestone, as if it were on European Street in a small town. The dream shifted to another scenario completely, so I will close with this part. This was a very active night of dreaming for me, as most often do not remember my dreams. I do remember this particular night I did not do my nightly preparations for sleep, and a series of muddled and rather twisted dreams occurred. P.S. I really enjoy what you and your wife do, and I really have learned a lot from your lectures and videos. Thank you so much for your work, and I thank you for writing that nice comment. Of course, there's a lot of symbolism here, and this is again another programming dream. Tornadoes are like a vortex or a spiral, and they represent to a programmed person being pulled or pushed into a new level of programming activation, so going to another higher level of it. The cobblestones prevent grounding, so you can't get to the earth. It's very like a block. And also when you look at cobblestones or rocks or stones, that usually is a block against the computer of the mind or the internal computer that's programming everything in the matrix. So there was a block there from you to get at that. When the dream shifts like that, it means, okay, the tornado's taken you to the next level. You're now in the new stage or phase. You need to use grounding and balancing exercises, use that brown merger. I would go back into the image of the dream and brown X the tornado. See yourself walking in a natural area in the dream, create a forest or a beach or something like this that's natural, and get rid of all of those icons in there, especially the teacher. And there's more teacher and student stuff going on here, which means that there were sets of instructions that were being downloaded. Next dream. I was in a waiting room of an important architectural firm for an interview to be assistant to an architect. I am currently a housewife, but visualizing work for future with work and money. When I was called to come in for the interview, I was surprised that the person interviewing me was Miley Cyrus, the Hannah Montana actress. She wanted me to be her personal assistant. I was having misgivings, as I'm not interested in show business, but took the job. During lunch, she wanted me to eat with her, but I had to go home. People around me said, "You can't not go to lunch with your boss on the first day." I went home anyway, and it turned out various members of my family were home and packing furniture and clothes, etc. We were either going on a vacation or moving to another house. This is the main part of the dream. The next part is a long journey by myself, riding different modes of transportation through various kinds of terrain. And it seems like various lands, cultures, and even time periods. Well, Miley Cyrus, or the Hannah Montana person, is an icon, a programming icon, getting a lot of programming dreams today. And that you did not want to eat with her at lunch represents you were not going to assimilate or download programs. That's very good, actually. But it also shows in the dream that you must be doing deprogramming work, because when you came home, your family was packing, moving, getting ready to do something. So you refused the instructions, and you're also changing your mind patterns, and that's a very good sign. So whatever you're doing, as far as deprogramming is concerned, it's working. And your internal programmer is trying to pull you back in, and you're blocking it. Keep that going. That's very good work. Next one. I used to have these recurring dreams. It would take several different forms. But in this dream, it took the form of a train on a circle track. The train was going around in a circle. So right away we know this involves revolving artificial DNA instructions going in a loop, a programming loop or error. We know that's going on here. The train would start slowly, steady as she goes. I felt that I needed to keep it under control. I don't know how I was driving it or just observing. It was big, and I felt something could easily go wrong. As the train built up speed, I became more and more worried as I couldn't control the inevitable. It eventually built up so much speed that it went off the rails and crashed violently. I felt the disaster, and it was stressful. After the crash or disaster, I would look around and contemplate on what happened. I would look at the pieces and would think I would have to start all over again, rebuild, etc. Usually come to the conclusion that it was not as big of a deal as I originally thought before waking up. Well, that means that the DNA instructions overloaded your body and the mind, and that's why it crashed and went faster and faster. Whatever was programmed into you, into this loop, this programming error, was too much for the mind, and it overloaded you. These dreams were very intense for me, but hard to describe, as they usually presented itself in the form of energy. Instead of a train, there would be kind of a blob of energy. This one is easiest to describe. I stopped getting these about 12 years ago and don't know why. Well, you need to do your DNA opening exercises and DNA deprogramming, which you can find in my books and DVDs. Use the green DNA symbol and the brown merger at your pineal gland in order to open this up. You have programming overload, and this can be damaging to the body and the mind. So it's a good thing that you stopped getting these 12 years ago. That could mean that you overloaded the circuit, so to speak, and things got stuck. So you might be stuck in your ordinary life right now because the instructions went in a loop and you couldn't go forward. Please do your deprogramming and your DNA opening exercises. And believe it or not, everybody, that's all the time we have for right now at the moment. So again, I want to thank you for sending in your dreams. We have so many that I think that we will continue the Dream Podcast in the future and maybe have a series of them. So let me know what you think by responding to the comments form when this podcast is posted on the website. Let me know what you think of these dreams and what else you might like to see in here. Keep a journal and keep the dreams current. Always date them, and so you know when you had them, so you can see a theme or a message over time. So have pleasant dreams. We have much more for you on the podcast, and I look forward to seeing you next time at expansions.com.
Hi, this is Janet Diane Moria Swerdlow, and I'm here with another cooking segment of Inner Health, Outer Wealth for you. Today I'm going to show you how to make crustless pizza. It's one of our favorites here, and I've done a lot of prep work, which you'll see before me. But one thing I saved to actually show you, which I think is really interesting, is what you can do with your hard cheese. This is called Pecorino Romano. It is sheep's milk cheese and is very hard and is very challenging to grate. But if you have a Cuisinart, and I've started some before you, and you have this type of a blade, you simply put this in the bottom, you put your chunks of cheese in there, and what I do is I leave mine out to soften at room temperature before I put it in there, maybe in an hour. I take it out while I'm doing one thing, let it sit until I'm ready for it. Close it up. This is going to be noisy for a second. You know it's done when it starts getting a little quieter. And of course I always unplug my machine before I do anything with it, because I'm not taking any chances with my fingers. And you have really nice shredded cheese here, which are grated cheese. It's what it's really officially called. And I'm going to be using that in our pizza. So I've already done a whole bowl here, not that we'll be using it, but since I have this on, so I don't want to do it every time I turn around, I make a whole bowl full of it. I put it in a bag or a container and I put it in my freezer so I can take it out easily whenever I need it. So I just wanted to show you how easy that is. It's much cheaper. You may not realize it, but the shredded cheeses that you buy in the stores often are filled with all sorts of terrible things to keep it from sticking, including things like wood fiber, which I know you don't want to be eating. So with that said, let's go over here to my meat. What I have in here are 2 pounds of buffalo meat plus 2 pounds of organic pork sausage. And I've just browned that up together. And I'm actually going to be making 2 of the crustless pizzas because I'm going to have one to eat tonight and I'm going to have one to put in my freezer, because yes, you can put it in your freezer and that will make life very easy for you and some evening when you are in a hurry. So what I do is I just put my meat down first. And you can use whatever kind of meat you want. If you want ground turkey, ground chicken, anything. Of course, beef, whatever you like in your meats. And you can mix everything together. Once you kind of mix things, you get interesting tastes that you might not have thought of before. And of course, that also means interesting mind patterns that you wouldn't have thought of before. New thoughts, new food for your mind. So mix things up a little bit. It makes your brain think a different way. I'm just going to pour some of this in here. Divide it evenly between the 2 pans as best as I can. Spread this out. Now, you can make your own pizza sauce, which I have talked to you about before. However, in the interest of time, I usually wind up getting mine from a jar, something nice and organic, low carb, usually around maybe 10 carbs for a half a cup. So I don't use a lot of pizza sauce, but enough to flavor. So my choice today is Muir Glen Organic Cabernet Marinara, because it is about 5 carbs per half a cup. And I'm just going to lightly put some across it for some flavoring. You can mix it into your meat again. You know, what I'm teaching you to do is just how to work at a very quick pace and get nutritious meals at the same time. I'll just smear that around a little bit. Now, as I said, I have done a little bit of prep work on this one. And you can do that at your convenience. You can do it the night before. You can do it in the morning and put it together in the afternoon. And whatever works for you. Find something that works and stay with it. Now, we like to have a variety of meat, so I have some organic deli meat ham that I've already chopped up. I'm just going to put that out. Divide that between the two pans. It gives it a nice flavoring. Stewart's a big meat eater. Meat pizza has always been one of his favorites, and so what could we do to bring meat pizza back into our life without being filled up with all the carbs that we really don't need? So we got a little creative here. And from there I have some organic salami. Now you can also order online, applegate.com. They have a lot of organic meats, deli type meats that you can get, and they're very good. They're not too unreasonable as far as price goes, but again, order extra, put it in your freezer, and then you can pull it out when you need it or you feel like it. And just spread that throughout. Kind of like it, so if you get a bite, you're going to get a little bite of everything. And then from there, I have some organic pepperoni that I'm going to also have sliced up. This is applegate.com pepperoni. My deli does have some organic meat in it, which is nice here locally. But what I can't get, I do try and put some extra in my freezer when I can. And then when I'm in the mood for something, I can reach in my freezer and there you go. So, I think that looks kind of even. Now, from there, I'm going to put just a little bit more sauce down. Again, not a whole lot, just enough for flavoring. Smear that. You can see nothing has taken a lot of time. It's just, and I'm not taking a lot of effort to make everything perfect, just I want it in the pan. Now I've also sauteed some garlic. You can use minced garlic from a jar that's already done. You can do your own cloves. You can get them whole cloves from a jar and slice those up and saute them yourself, you know, depending on whatever it is your time is or you have the inclination to do. From there, I've sauteed up some organic onions, which I'm going to spread those out in my next layer. And divide it between the two pans. And you can put anything on for vegetables that you typically would put. You might like olives, you might like mushrooms. There's some things we don't particularly eat a lot of or not everybody likes. So you just go look and see what you would put on a pizza. If you were to make a nice meat vegetable pizza combo and stick it in there. And I've also done some real beautiful organic peppers for you to see. Variety of colors makes it kind of nice. I have some orange, green, and red. I'm just going to spread that around. I know all of you are going to want to make this right away because once you see it, it's like, I think I want to try that. Okay, so I'm making fast progress. Next thing I'm going to put on is going to be my chev, which is goat cheese. I have one in a package for you to see, just a package of fresh goat chev. And some people like ricotta cheese because we can't find it here made out of anything but cow's milk. We go for the goat chev, which kind of gives us that feeling of a nice ricotta cheese. It's really melts down into the pizza and it's really delicious. So just enough for a little tasting. Or you can do more, depending again what you like. Next up, we have some chopped spinach. Now, I have taken mine, this is frozen, again you can do fresh. I squeeze it to get the water out, and I've already squeezed this, but I'm going to squeeze it one more time so as not to make your pizza too filled with water when you bake it, and that's going to go right on top. Because you will get a certain amount of liquid out of your vegetables, which I not only chop, but I do saute in advance so that it's really basically cooked when you put it in the oven. You're really just heating everything up and melting your cheese. And I talked about once before how you can make a delicious spinach pie. You can choose one or more of these ingredients, because when we're done, we're going to just cover it lightly with some other cheese. You can just do just the spinach covered with cheese and baked in your oven to make it nice and bubbly brown if you like, as a side dish, side vegetable, especially in the winter time if you're not able to get so much fresh produce. And sometimes the frozen spinach is an alternative, or you may like it fresh. We have found that the fresh seems to be a little bit more bitter for some reason, but the freezing tends to take the bitterness out. But go according to your taste buds, what you like. You can see I'm still getting quite a bit of water out, and there may still be some more, but that's okay, I'll work with it. Okay, get everything spread around to your liking. This is shredded goat mozzarella and cheddar mixed, and this I do shred by hand. I'm a really fast grater, done it for many years. Lots of experience in the cooking field because I like to eat nice, good, healthy things. Nutrition's always been important in my life. I was a very picky eater growing up, and I wanted to make sure that I had food that was healthy for my body and food that I liked all at the same time. So for those of you with the same goals, these are easy way to do things. And again, if you can shred more than you want, put it in your refrigerator, and then if you have leftover, you can put it in your salads, you can put it over your potatoes, your Jerusalem artichokes, any kind of interesting vegetables that you have. You can put it on your meat. Throw it on some chicken breast with some pizza sauce, marinara sauce. Let's put that in your oven for a quick meal. And you can kind of dress up your chicken breast the same way. I have a similar dish that I make like this with chicken breast that's layered. I'll show you one of these days, but it's absolutely delicious and easy to make. Okay, once you have what amount of cheese that you want, then you can go to, remember we did the grated cheese, and we just sprinkle that on top. And you don't have to. Again, you can use whatever types of cheeses, vegetables, meats, whatever fillings that you like. And when you're done, you're going to bake it about 375 for about 30 minutes, just enough to heat it through. Melt your cheese on top. If you like a little more brown and bubbly, you can turn your heat up to maybe 425, or even broil it for just a couple of minutes to get that cheese brown the way you like it. And like I said, I'm going to have two beautiful dinners here, one for tonight, one to throw in my freezer. It's going to be easy because tonight my son has a music lesson, which means he comes home from school, I feed him dinner, we run out the door. So it's nice to be able to pull this out of the oven Give everybody something really nice and nutritious. I won't have to cook so much because it's already done. And we'll be on to the next activity. Alrighty, those look beautiful. I'm going to wash up, and of course I have a mess to clean up. It'll take me just a few minutes. I want you to try something wonderful and nutritious for yourself tonight. And remember, whatever you put in your body is indicative of what you're putting in your mind. So think about it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.